AJ really quickly. Welcome to Optimizely. Thanks for being here tonight. Just really quickly, I think many of you guys are already Optimizely customers already, but Optimizely is the world's leading digital experience optimization platform. We offer full stack A/B testing and personalization solutions. So if you guys are interested in learning more about Optimizely, feel free to come talk to me. But otherwise, please enjoy your time here, and I'll pass it off to AJ.
Thank you. So if you've read my blog posts, you know I put a lot of images in my blog posts. I like pop culture. I like to make boring topics a little bit more interesting. And technical SEO can be pretty boring. So this presentation is called C-137 SEO. And some of you might be asking what exactly I'm talking about when I talk about that. It's technical SEO. And I want to talk about technical SEO, not just about the technical part, but how we talk about technical SEO. I asked some people on Twitter, and a friend of mine said, you know, sometimes it's hard to get technical SEO prioritized in the company because it's kind of tough to talk to the management and say, hey, this is what we need to have happen. Because a lot of times it winds up sounding a little bit like C-137 SEO. They don't know what the hell you're talking about. So today I'm going to talk about something called corpus control, right? It's a lot like herding sheep. And so some of you might be saying, what? What is corpus control, right? And it is not, in fact, Corpus Christi, which that is a picture of Corpus Christi there. But it is about, do you know all the URLs on your website? Do you actually know where all the bodies are buried, all the things that are out there, everything that's there? Because there's one person who does. Googlebot. And it comes bearing flowers. It has a little toothsome grin. But it's not very friendly. Like most robots, it's amoral, doesn't care, it'll crawl anything, and that's the problem, right? It will crawl anything. So, I'm going to start out by saying, look, we all have one tool that we can use, right? One tool at our disposal that everybody should have, even if you don't have tools built for you, and that is Search Console. And we have something called a new Search Console, which to me is like new Coke. Right? It's a product that nobody wanted and that no one likes as much as the classic version, but probably got someone promoted at Google. Right? So, it's what we have to work with though, so I wanted to go through it and say, what can we do with this? Right? And this is what you might wind up seeing when you open up your Search Console and you look at your coverage report, which is really what I want you to look at here. And we might say, oh, that's a lot of excluded pages, 5.6 million excluded pages. But that's not an awful thing in and of itself. Not really bad. But here's the issue. That's all the known pages. Right? That's what Googlebot knows about. What I'm really interested in is then submitted pages. And that 5 million suddenly goes down to 5.5 at 557,000. That means there are about 5 million excluded pages that are just sort of rogue pages out there. Now some of them might be okay, maybe you're blocking them on purpose, but that's a lot of pages that I'm concerned about. And I'm suddenly looking at and going, that is not good, right? That does not make me happy. So instead, we have to talk about some baselines here. Because one of the things that I find is some clients, they say, well, what should I put in my XML sitemaps? Should I put just the important stuff? No. Corpus, the whole world. That's the corpus. Every URL you want to have indexed, I want to have in an XML sitemap. Because I want to get information back on that. Right? And so at the end of the day, I want to know the known minus the submitted. That's what I'm looking at. That's how I start my journey to sort of figure out what is going on this site. And no, it's not fine. Right? The house is burning down. We need to put out some fires. And so you get something like this. And if you're figuring this out, I'm pulling stuff from like multiple accounts, so nothing will add up. So if you're actually trying to figure out, like, hold on, you had 5.5 million excluded, and now you only have 100, okay? All different accounts, right? So we need to uncover problems by identifying patterns. The one thing that the new Search Console does allow you to do is do this fairly well, and it's using their filter functionality, right? And so you get these examples, which are nice. We get 1,000 examples for each of these status types. And so in this one, I'm looking at alternate page with proper canonical tag. And there you at the bottom, like, so I was poking around, I said, what the heck is this page speed equal no script? What is that? And so I filter for it, and I find out that there are 217 of these out of the 1,000 examples, which makes it super easy. That's not 22%. And if we think that this is a representative sample of these problems, I can basically tell, hey, 22% of the issues are due to this, right? Why are we doing this? Same thing here, right? Except this time, 98%, right? So I can basically say, hey, duplicate without a user-selected canonical, which basically means you're just spitting out URLs for no reason. You're not even declaring a canonical. 98%. And using that percentage makes sizing the problem easier to communicate, right? Instead of saying we have this issue, you can say, hey, you can get rid of this issue. If we do this, we're going to get rid of 98% of this problem. People like that. People like hearing that like definitive number. Now, if you haven't figured it out, parameters are a big problem. I hate parameters, right? Parameters are scary. Scary Terry. So I use robots.txt generously. I love robots.txt. I don't know, I saw someone the other day on Twitter say, oh, who uses robots.txt anymore? I did. I use it a lot. Now this isn't one of my sites. We can go through it. This is one robots.txt file. Huh? Yep. Keep going. No, golden cookie. Okay. No stubs. Can't sell Confederate flags. Yeah, it's Etsy. Okay. Customizable. Min-max, don't like those. Don't like favorites. Don't need those attributes. No price buckets. No search types. Okay, now we're at the end, right? By the way, don't put up XML sitemaps with the words SEO experiment in them. Pro tip, okay? It's fun to look at, right? Immediately you're like, ooh, let's see what Etsy's doing, right? Same thing in your actual rendered code. A lot of people put tests into their JS underneath. Do not name those things that you want your competitors to figure out. Huh? So if you have this long set of robots.txt, this is an awesome tool. It's one of the last things in the old Search Console. If they get rid of it, I will go and strangle John Mueller personally. This is a great tool. It's really great because you can play with the disavow. You can edit this and then test the stuff and see if it works. And so when you then like bundle up all the stuff that you found, right? Your eyes are bleeding from looking at all this stuff, and you say, hey, I need you to do this. You're not asking them to do something. You're saying, I need you to add these disallow statements to this robots.txt. There's no if, ands, or how you do it. It's just like, here it is, do it, right? Easy to get that done. Easy to get that prioritized and through the system. Now, I'm sure some of you were thinking like, but hey, you don't have to use robots.txt. What's that disallow? You could use no index. Or you could 404 or 410 if there's a nice debate, right? 404 versus 410. Or you could use row canonical. So I'm going to go through a couple of these. Obviously, I'm going for number 2, right? He's the sausage I want to win. I don't like 404s. I think they're junk food. I wrote about it, in particular internal 404s. So sometimes when you 404 some content, the team forgets to remove the references to those 404s. And so suddenly you're linking to broken pages on your own site. That's not a good look. It's not a good look to Google, and it's not a good look to your users, right? It's just bad user experience. But even without that, just regular 404s where it's like, hey, we had all this content and it kind of sucked and now we got a 404. Find a way to redirect it, maybe no index it, but 404s, I've never had good luck with 400 in content, right? Every single time I reduce the number of 404s on the site, good things happen. Do I think it's a ranking factor? I don't care. I just care that it makes a difference. So I don't know why, I just know that after 10 years of doing that, every time I do it, good things happen. I think that's enough. That no index, it sounds good, but let's say you have 100,000 parameter URLs that you're like, oh crap, I gotta get rid of those. If you're gonna spend the time to say, let's spend my crawl budget to crawl URLs, which I know are useless, so Google can see the no index so I can get rid of them. You're gonna wait a long time. And that's even with the tricks of like, let's create an XML sitemap of just the no index stuff so we can track it going out. Or let's get some slogs and let's actually fetch and render and do that fetch thing so it has to see it all the time. Oh, I've done all this stuff, right? It still takes a long time. And then, of course, the rel canonical. I like rel canonical for certain activities, right? It's nice sometimes when you're trying to prevent, like, hey, UTM parameters, right? I don't want that to, like, clutter up, so put a self-referring canonical on there and everything's good. But a lot of the time, something will happen and, you know, some wacko URLs get out in the wild, and the response from the dev team, well, let's just put a rel canonical on that. That'll solve it, right? Oh, right? I'm not very nuanced on this point, right? Michael Scott kind of channels my feelings here. And so I'm always of the mind, 301 redirect unless the user needs to see that page. That to me is the only reason why I want to use a rel canonical. If the user needs to see the page, then obviously you can't 301 because, well, they can't see the page. So then you have to use rel canonical. Anywhere else, please don't. So let's go back to looking at all of the status types. And you'll notice that not all status types are equal. Some are flamingos, and one of them is a goose. Right? So you'll get this big list, and I know Google thinks like, well, we don't know what you think is wrong or right, but like everything looks to be the same nastiness here. But blocked by robots.txt, well, I might be doing that on purpose, right? That might be like, yes, thank you, don't do that. Same with no index. But again, 6 million no index, right? I might be thinking, you know, maybe those shouldn't exist if I'm noticing 6 million pages. Maybe that's not content that I should have on my site. And you got to figure that out, right? So then you have to go in there and you have to look at it. Now for some that might be. So for robots.txt, obviously, if any of those get indexed, this is not a good look, right? Hey, we're indexing stuff which is blocked by robots.txt, and we all know the lovely snippet you get when you see a result in Google that says, like, we can't display meta description for the site based on robots.txt. Looks like ass, right? You do have one thing, again, something still in the old Search Console. If you have it in a directory, if it's not in a directory, you're screwed, right? And it'll be there forever. But if it's in a directory, there's still the ability to actually remove content at the directory level. I'm surprised how many people, maybe I'm not surprised, because the UX here is super bad. It doesn't look like there's a drop-down menu when you do this, right? And so when you get to the stage, let's say you just sort of say, here's the directory, and then you gotta press this thing, and then it's like, oh, I want to clear all of this, and it's all this hide temporarily crack, which is crap, because if you get rid of it, it will be gone. But you can actually get rid of the entire directory, and it happens very quickly, right? 10 minutes, gone. Now, what we're talking about here, and what we're really trying to get from Google, Tim likes it, thank you, right, is we're asking Google through these XML sitemaps to show me what you got on those URLs, right? So we've got these XML sitemaps. And the problem is that right now, most sites, they just give, you generate one sitemap index, and there are lots of sitemaps in it. But the problem is that you only get to see one then. You only get to generate one set of examples for all of those types. And the sitemap protocol, you can do tons with it, right? 50,000 URLs per sitemap, 50,000 sitemaps per sitemap. That's a lot of potential URLs. And buried right up here, you can have more than one sitemap index file. You have lots of them. In fact, in the old console, you could have up to 400. After 400, they would stop showing information about those sitemap indexes. But you can still do that. I assume that the limit of 400 still exists in the new one. Haven't tested it yet. Might be less, because everything's less in the new one. But this is important, because you can optimize your sitemaps. I wrote this post, I don't know, 8 years ago, I think, something like that. And so let's say you're an e-commerce site. You should probably have your product pages in one XML sitemap index file, category pages in another, buying guides in another, blogs in another. You want to go the extra distance? Break out your products by the category. Here are your products for toys, for clothing, or sporting goods, for lingerie, whatever, right? And then you can see what's getting indexed, at what rate, what problems are they seeing, and not only that, you get to generate, a whole bunch of more examples. And if you do this the right way, right, for each of these, you're going to get 1,000 examples for each status type. If you do it right, oh boy, I know everything, right? On those statuses, I get to see every duplicate submitted URL not selected, 138. Currently not indexed. I get to see all 32 of those examples. I get to see everything, right? It's fish in a barrel at that point. You just go and you say, okay, what are these? What's wrong? I get to look at every single one. The other thing that most people don't seem to, embrace, I think they understand, but they don't do it, is XML sitemaps can be torn down and rebuilt again and again, right? They are reporting tools. If anybody tells you, like, I did an XML sitemap and it really helped, like, X, Y, and Z, and it made you rank better, I'm not sure about that. It's more about how they call your site. This is, sometimes they'll get a thing where it'll be like, hey, maybe it's a little easier for them to get there, you give them the pathway. But most of the time, this is a reporting tool. And as such, you can basically get the report you want, blow it up, build it again in a different way, and get some more information. I worked at a major publisher at one point, and the first thing I wanted to know is content published in the current month versus the first month that they did, so it was like 8 years worth of months, and I said, let's build an XML sitemap for content by month and year. And we did that. As I said, I want to know if maybe it's the old content not indexed well enough, is new content not getting indexed, I don't know. Turned out it was all indexed just fine. Did the whole thing, and it was like, no, this isn't useful. So we blew it up, built something completely different so we can learn some more. And this is something which I find is actually getting worse as I have continued. People generate an XML sitemap once, and then it's like, we're done. And then they leave it. They never come back to it. And then 2 years later, someone says, hey, did you know we haven't actually been updating our XML sitemap? It's actually not regenerating? That's a fun conversation to have. So please, pay attention. Because things can get out of hand pretty quickly if you're not careful. Right? Some people get the Snuffles joke. Thank you. So they can get out of hand pretty quick. And so you'll sit here and go, okay, this isn't a huge problem, right? 7% page redirect. This wacky href. What the hell is that? Someone made a mistake, clearly. What's going on? And if you went to the developers of it, whatever, right? But here it is again, another one. All of these redirects, they go to the home page. Google doesn't like vertical redirects, right? When you go all the way from a leaf page or a category page all the way up to the home page, Google's like, screw you. I'm not passing authority to that. That's in SOF 404. No way. And so this one, 44% of the problem, right? So that's kind of big. So you're going to be finding a lot of tickets in whatever system you have, Asana, or whatever you want. And it's really about playing whack-a-mole, right? You're going to go through these things and you're going to find every little thing, every little bug, every little problem, so that you can trim all of that fat. Your developers will not like you, right? This is going to be the reaction when you come into the room or when they see a ticket pop into the queue. It's going to be like, oh, Jesus, not the SEO guy, right? But let's not cry for them, because we got our own process to bear, right? In the new Search Console, we don't get to know status codes, right? Crawl anomaly. Take a guess. Maybe it's a 500. Maybe it's a 404. Maybe it's a 522. True story. Had that, right? Don't have any idea. Sucks. And when they ask us, say, well, what can we do to make it better? You can tell us the status codes. Great, we're not doing that, right? In addition, they say, oh, hey, this stuff might be a few days delayed. Few days. Try 7 to 10. Like, literally, it's like, come on. Now it's 7 days, now it's 8, now it's 9. It's awful, right? There's also weird stuff like, look at that. Some data points are interpolated. Oh, That's interesting too. There's a nice little drop in there. So at the end of the day, we wind up looking like this, right? We're looking at every single bug, every little thing. Developers hate us. We're trying to guess at these status codes. The data's not updating, so you're sitting waiting for that stuff, so you look like gritty, right? Stuff with nightmares, which actually then becomes an internet sensation. So you're going to walk in, and you're going to say, hey boss, we really need crawl tracking. Because this Google tool is not cutting it. Not doing the job that we need it to do. The boss is going to be like, I don't know. Really? Why? Why do we need that? I don't get it. And so you're going to resort to some things like, hey, sometimes Google crawls the wrong way. And that is the wrong way to eat a Kit Kat, right? Only a sociopath eats a Kit Kat like that. That's just wrong. And see, this is the type of stuff we need to talk about it like this, right? This is how you get people to understand what's going on. If you tell them like, well, they're calling these things and they're calling the API, just forget it, right? Glaze over, they're thinking about where they're going to do. But if we do it like this, we have a chance. And so what I'm really talking about is crawl optimization. I wrote this, I don't know, 3 years ago, something like that. And I basically said, you are what Googlebot eats, right? Whatever they crawl is what you are. So you want to, 500s, that's lard. That's just pure lard. It's like Crisco, just eat Crisco. And it's 404s, those are the Twinkies, that's junk food. The parameters, those are just empty calories, right? Empty calories, just tons of them. And so you really need to work on that. And so you're going to tell them, hey, I need to track the crawl by status code, right? This is an actual sheet from back in the day. The client decided to do it. And there you go, right? Very quickly. You can be like, hey, there's a spike in 404s. I need to know what's going on. Let's fix that. Super easy, right? I also want to look at it by page type, right? Or what are they crawling? Are they crawling product pages, category pages, buying guides, user profile pages? What are they crawling, right? And page type matters, right? Maybe you want more Ellen Page and less Larry Page, right? Ellen Page gets you more conversions, right? There's an opportunity cost, right? If you want to rank for the Ellen Pages, you need them to crawl the Ellen Pages more often, and the Larry Pages less often. Super important. But at the end of the day, your boss is like, what are you talking about? I don't get this. You start like, I'm starting to lose them, right? I threw up some Excel charts, some graphs, and they're like, what? I don't get it, right? And they say, what's log file analysis? That's what we need, right? Now, I'm not going to tell you how to do the log file analysis. There's tons of tools and guides out there to tell you how to do it. I just know that you have to do it. Quick pro tip, it's not that tough. It really isn't. You know what it is? It's boring for a developer, right? This is not fun for a developer to work on. So if a developer comes back to you and says, oh, we're going to have to scope that project, that's like a 13-point project. You go, bullshit. It is not a 13-point project. That's like a 3-point project. And I know it, because I can do it, right? And I suck at this. So you should be able to do this. So just keep that in your hat, because when this happens, you gotta hold that line. But when you say that, your boss then really gets confused. Log file analysis. What? I don't know what you're talking about. This is getting really confusing. So then you gotta break out sort of the executive speak, right? It's about measurement. That's how you have to start talking about it. We're talking about measurement, and measurement is important. And that's when you got to break out the black and white photos with the quotes on them, right? If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. Peter Drucker. Suddenly executives, ooh, Peter Drucker, you smart? Yes. Okay. So that's what you're saying, or this is a Peter Drucker thing? Yes. And then if you want to go even further back, the old crusty dude, Lord Kelvin. If you can't measure it, you can't improve it. Sorry, dude, I can't meet these OKRs unless you give me crawl tracking, right? So you do that. And then you might say, like, this is all sort of a numbers game. This is the framework that you work on. At the bottom, crawl. If it doesn't get crawled, if you're not optimizing your crawl, you're not going to get indexed, you're not going to get the indexation that you want. BayAreaSearch. Not a cow. I said indexation hates that. And if you're not indexed, you can't rank. And all is like this big old thing that you have to get there. And so at the end of the day, like, this is kind of what you want to see. Hey, we're getting more stuff indexed. That line's going down. This one, this discovered currently not indexed, like that's the middle finger for Google, if you haven't figured out, right? That's not even like, I crawled it and I didn't index. It's like, I know it's there, but I'm not going to crawl it at all. Screw you. Right? And so it was like, oh, we took a chunk out of that. Yes. All right. So that's what you need. The problem is, we look like this when we start asking for this stuff usually. We talk in tongues. We look like an angry Rick Sanchez out on a binge, right? And that's not how we're going to get what we need from the powers that be. And so we need to figure out what's the thing that is most relatable. How can I marshal this together? How can I say, hey, how can I hypnotize this? What can I say? If you have worked with me at all, you know I love analogies, right? All the time with the analogies. I'm sure behind my back they're like, Jesus, do I have to hear another one of his analogies? Does he ever stop? But I think it works. When you find the right analogy, you can suddenly sell it. You can sell it to other teams. You can sell it to other people. You just got to find that one connection. Now, right now, there's a really good one. I could have done a whole deck this way, right? Could have done a whole deck on, yeah, Marie Kondo, baby, right? And suddenly it would be like, yes, of course. Have to do that, right? But it's true, like, you know, look at this. She does corpus control, right? She'll be like, you can't fold your stuff in like this because you can't see the stuff on the bottom. You don't know what you have. You have to fold it like this so you can see all the stuff that you have. That's what I'm talking about, right there. I just told you. Executive somebody goes, oh, I get it. That's how it works. That's what we have to do. Too long didn't listen. If you didn't listen, if you fell asleep during this whole thing, you did. I'll just wind up with this one last thing. And that's sort of measure how Google is crawling your site and take action to ensure they're crawling the right things. And with that,